In a culture that once saw silence as strength, Asian parents are now learning that unspoken pain doesn't disappear, it pollutes. What if mental health is a forest? Healing is the way we clean the air for the next generation. Asterisk, the silence that polluted generations for decades. In many Asian families, silence was fertilizer for success. Fathers worked endless hours, mothers carried invisible burdens, and children learned early. Emotions stay buried, discipline conquers all. In this unspoken pact built empires, strata students, high achievers, cultural pride wrapped in sacrifice. But like any monoculture, this model drained the soil. Generation after generation, repressed feelings turned into hidden mental droughts, depression, anxiety, burnout. Nobody called it pollution, they called it strength. Today, something remarkable is happening. The same parents who once demanded silence are peeking into therapy rooms, whispering about stress, asking questions about mental health, a term once foreign in their homes. They see their grown children wilted by the same pressure that once promised glory. They watch news stories of students cracking under perfectionism, of uncles swallowed by unspoken sorrow, and they wonder, what did we plant all these years? Mental health is no longer an individual issue, it's a family ecosystem gasping for clean air. A new generation is daring to compost old shame, recycle old habits, and reforest the burned land of emotional neglect. When Asian parents finally ask about mental health, they're not just changing themselves, they're changing the soil for every child who follows. Asterisk. From concrete gardens to living forests, Asian homes often look spotless on the surface. Tidy shelves, neat lawns, trophies lined up like proof of sacrifice. But beneath, many minds feel like concrete gardens. No weeds, no mess, but nothing truly grows wild either. The old idea was simple. Control everything, and you control pain. Control pain, and you guarantee success. But sterile gardens die. They cannot feed the future. This is where the sustainability metaphor comes alive. Families are not factories, they are forests. Silence cannot be the pesticide that kills every honest feeling. Children cannot be treated like crops to be harvested, for grades and trophies alone. When parents dare to speak about anxiety, they till the soil. When they apologize for old harshness, they fertilize trust. When they sit with discomfort, they invite new roots. A sustainable family mind doesn't fear mess, it welcomes seasons, pruning harsh words, watering tired hearts, composting shame into wisdom. When Asian parents open the conversation, they don't weaken tradition, they renew it. They trade sterile concrete for living green. And for the first time, generations can breathe. Asterisk the generational loops. So why did it take so long? Some blame. The immigration dream parents who left everything behind, convinced sacrifice was the only fertilizer. Some blame shame cultures. What happens in the home stays hidden forever. Some blame old myths that tough love was the only love strong enough to survive a harsh world. But no ecosystem survives endless extraction. Burn the soil for one generation, it may yield gold medals and medical degrees. Burn it for two, the roots weaken. By the third, children begin to break. Today's young Asian adults are not weaker than their parents. They're more honest about the toxins in the soil. They name anxiety. They dare to talk back to burnout. They speak about therapy, not as shame, but as sunlight. Now slowly. Parents listen, not always perfectly, not always comfortably. When a father says, "Tell me what you feel," instead of "Stay quiet," a cycle ends. A new one begins. This is sustainability in real time. The quiet recycling of silence into speech, fear into trust. It's not an overnight cure. It's a generational garden reclaiming its wild beauty. Asterisk, the unspoken Smog silence has its own pollution. You can't see it, but you feel it. In many Asian homes, the dinner table was a place for grades, goals, and next steps, never feelings. A child's sadness was brushed off as laziness, tears labeled weakness, therapy mocked as something for others. This silence was passed down like hidden smog, drifting through walls, seeping into bedrooms where children cried alone, praying they wouldn't disappoint the dreams built on their shoulders. But like cities learning to clear their air, families are learning to name this smog. They realize that what's unspoken rots faster than what's said. You see that bottled shame leaks into sleepless nights, angry outbursts, generations repeating the same cold scripts. And they ask, what if our silence is poisoning us more than any failure ever could? Clearing this mental smog is not rebellion, it's healing, sustainability in its rawest form, purifying what was once hidden. When a father admits, I didn't know how to show love, or a mother whispers, I wish I'd hugged you more, the air shifts. The fog lifts. There is space for breath again. Asterisk composting old shame no forest thrives without decay. Dead leaves feed the roots. Old mistakes feed wisdom. For Asian families rethinking mental health, the first step is composting shame. This means looking directly at old hurts, the beatings meant as discipline, the words that cut deeper than sticks ever could, the silent sacrifices that became resentment whispered behind closed doors. Composting shame isn't about blaming the elders. It's about understanding the soil they were given. Many Asian parents were themselves raised in scarcity. No praise, no gentle hands, no space for tears. They did what they knew. They recycled silence because they were never taught speech. They passed on tough love because they believed it protected fragile dreams from a cruel world. Now, the composting begins. Children speak honestly, parents listen awkwardly. Both sides sit in the stink of old secrets until something green grows. Apologies sprout, boundaries bloom. Resilience becomes rich soil, not hard stone. This is sustainability of the heart, using yesterday's pain to grow tomorrow's trust. Asterisk. New seeds of conversation, once the soil is turned, new seeds can be planted. Small ones. A father asking, how was your day really? Mother saying, it's okay to rest. A child daring to say, I'm not okay, and not hearing, you're ungrateful. These are not dramatic revolutions. They are tiny seeds, but they hold forests inside. Asian families are learning that sustainable mental health isn't a grand one-time fix. It's the daily act of watering these seeds, consistent check-ins, gentle words, permission to be human. Parents learn that success means nothing if their child's mind is barren soil. Children learn that rebellion isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet talk over tea, bridge where none existed before. One seed becomes a habit. One habit becomes a forest. Okay, and someday when these children become parents themselves, they won't fear the weeds. They'll know that a living garden is messy, but mess keeps it alive. Asterisk fathers as gardeners traditionally. Many Asian fathers were like granite providers, protectors, but rarely planters of emotion. They gave shelter and schooling, but often starved hearts of warmth. Some believe softness made a child weak, that praising too much bred laziness. But now, fathers are learning to garden. It starts awkwardly, a hand on a son's shoulder a late night. Message checking in, an apology years too late, but still planting something new. Fathers learn that a sustainable mind is not built by fear alone. It needs sunlight too. Their silence can still be powerful, but now it holds space, not secrets. When fathers become gardeners, families change shape. Sons learn that strength is not loud anger, but quiet presence. Daughters learn that protection is not control, but trust. Generations that once pruned every feeling down to stumps now see shoots of green where there was only stone. Mothers as rainy fathers are learning to garden, mothers are learning to reign. Many Asian mothers carried oceans of unspoken sacrifice, moving countries, cleaning endlessly, working double shifts while telling no one how lonely they were. They held storms inside, showing calm faces while drowning in quiet tears at night. But unwept storms flood children too. Now, more mothers are pouring out truth. They sit with daughters and sons, confessing fear, admitting regret. They break the myth of perfect motherhood, not to lose respect, but to gain connection. When mothers reign honestly, they water dry fields, long starved of softness. This rain doesn't wash everything away overnight, but it seeps in, restoring trust, clearing old salt from the soil. Children feel seen, parents feel lighter. Together, They build a climate where storms don't destroy, they feed life. Asterisk children as wildflowers in this new ecosystem. Children are not crops to be measured by yield. They are wildflowers, each growing at their own pace, reaching for their own sun. The old model prized uniformity, perfect scores, accepted careers, silent obedience. The new sustainability honors difference. This means parents accept that a son's path may not be medicine or engineering, that a daughter's dream may not fit a neat mold. It means letting children bloom in directions parents never imagined. Music, art, science, quiet work that brings joy instead of status. Freedom is not chaos, it's biodiversity for the mind. When families accept wildflowers, mental health stops being a problem to fix. It becomes a garden to tend. Some flowers need pruning. Some just need space. All need sunlight, honest words, safe hugs, silent trust. In this forest, every bloom is proof. The old soil can heal. Asterisk sustainable rituals talk alone is not enough. Rituals make sustainability real. A forest stays alive through cycles. Planting, pruning, resting, so do families. New rituals bloom. Sunday dinners with real talk. No phones at the table, weekly walks to check in. Silent tea together when words fail. Asian parents learn that sustainable mental health isn't only therapy or medicine, it's rhythm. It's normalizing pauses. It's teaching that rest is not laziness, but maintenance. Rituals like bedtime, conversations, morning check-ins, gratitude notes. Small, boring, powerful. These rituals compost stress before it rots the roots. They recycle energy. They filter old toxins. A ritual is a promise. I will tend this garden again and again. When families keep that promise, no storm can uproot what they've grown. Asterisk the eco-village of support sustainable mental health isn't just private. A forest survives because it connects to others. Streams feeding roots, animals spreading seeds, rain shared across miles. Families thrive when they plug into wider support. Therapists, community groups, school counselors, faith spaces. Asian parents once feared outsiders knowing their business. Now they see that isolation starves healing. A healthy ecosystem shares burdens. It normalizes help. Therapy stops being shameful. It becomes maintenance. Talking to other parents becomes a resource, not gossip. An eco-village mindset says, our garden feeds yours too. When families share stories, mistakes, and solutions, they recycle courage. One parent's question lights a path for another. One family's drift from silence clears the air for the whole community. Asterisk boundaries as fences, no sustainable. Garden survives without fences. Boundaries protect new growth from weeds, gossip, disrespect, old toxic habits. In Asian families, boundaries were rare. Parents felt entitled to every detail of a child's life. Children felt obligated to share everything except their real feelings. Healthy families now learn, respect is fertilizer. Parents learn to ask, not demand. Children learn to speak limits. I need space. I can't talk now. This feels strange at first, like pulling up old roots. But fences don't cut connection, they shape it. They keep predators out. Stress, manipulation, old guilt trips. Boundaries turn family from factory to forest preserve. Each yes and no shapes the climate. Sustainable love respects edges. When parents and children honor fences, trust grows wild inside. Asterisk storms will still come no. Ecosystem is storm-free. Grief hits. Failure strikes. Old conflicts resurface. Sustainable families don't pretend storms won't come, they prepare. The soil to absorb the rain without drowning, they talk through losses. They name feelings instead of blaming. When a child breaks down under pressure, parents' old reflex may still surface. Toughen up, but the new reflex is softer. Tell me where it hurts. Debts pile up or dreams fall apart. Families stand together, not in shame, but in solidarity. Storms can prune branches, but they also feed deep roots. Each storm survived honestly strengthens the ecosystem. Asian families learning this don't seek perfection, they seek resilience. It's real sustainability, not avoiding storms but thriving after them. Asterisk the forest we leave one day, today's. Children will be parents. They'll remember the first awkward talks, the first apologies that tasted like rain on dry ground. They'll remember fathers who gardened silence into trust, mothers who rained truth instead of tears behind closed doors. They'll remember that mental health is not a shame to hide, but a forest to protect. Sustainable families are legacy forests. Each honest word is a seed. Each ritual is a root. Each boundary is a fence protecting future growth. When today's children raise their own kids, they'll compost old shame faster, plant new seeds sooner, tend storms with less fear. The forest they leave will be messy alive, buzzing with talk and tears and laughter. No sterile gardens here, only wild green proof that silence can be recycled, wounds can feed wisdom, and what we plant together can outlive us all. Asterisk return to the garden. This is what happens when Asian parents finally care about mental health. They don't abandon tradition. They water its roots with honesty. They don't destroy discipline. They prune it so it doesn't choke joy. They don't fix everything overnight. They promise to tend, to compost, to weed, to rest. If you come from this soil, know this. Your silence is not your legacy. Your burnout is not your destiny. You are the gardener now. You can clear the smog. You can plant new rituals. You can fence your mind from old toxins and teach your parents gently how to do the same. A forest starts with one seed, sustainable. Mine starts with one conversation. When your family drifts back to silence, become the rain. When shame rises, build fences. When the old storms rage, stand in the garden you tended with truth. The silence that polluted you can feed the garden that frees you. Asterisk the regeneration drift if this message touched you. Share it with someone carrying old silence. Let them see that healing is not rebellion, it's recycling what was broken into something alive. Leave a comment below. What seed will you plant in your family's forest today? Let's compost shame together, drift wisely, regenerate, and return stronger for the generations watching us now.